there's a lot of misunderstandings about Scripture and about forgiveness. And normally on Dave's Raves, we're having a little more fun, but I do want to tell you something that I've discovered. We are told, obviously, in Scripture to forgive our enemies. But if we study the prodigal son story, there's a deeper lesson here that's not merely forgiveness and then allow somebody to walk all over you. There's a difference, my friends, between forgiveness and restoration. And I just don't think that I hear this taught on very much. Forgiveness, if you live in a spirit of forgiveness, that's good for you. It's good for the other person. It's certainly good for your relationship with God and others. Nobody gets an ulcer from forgiving too much, okay? Nobody can't sleep at night because they're forgiving too much. It's the opposite. It burns you up. You know, somebody has said unforgiveness is like the acid that they put into a container and it burns through whatever you put it in. But restoration is about relationship rebuilding or even recreating. Those two things are not necessarily the same. And in the prodigal son story, for 3 years, the young man went off and chased fast cars and fast women in the equivalent times, and no doubt the father knew where he was. So you might say, when did he forgive him? Well, you might say he forgave him when the father saw him coming over the far hill. And I would tell you, I don't think that's true. I think the father forgave him the day he offended him. Because under Jewish law, he could have had that boy stoned to death. And he wouldn't have had to do it. The city would have done it. If the city, if the village, town had heard a kid say, I only want your inheritance, you're dead to me, give me my half now, I'm out of here, they want to purge that. And that was capital punishment at the time. In mercy, he was given that and allowed to leave. And then, 3 years later, you see this father who pictures God running to us, lavishing himself upon us, wrapping us and providing for us and holding us even though we have been feeding pigs and we were unclean and making him unclean as a result. So the scenario is restoration happened when he returned. Forgiveness happened when he left. We should live in a forgiving spirit, and maybe that will lead to restoration, but it won't always. So let's have realistic expectations about how we apply truth in our lives and live in a forgiving spirit. See you next time.